With Infertility. Today we have Allie on with us, and after 6 years of infertility, 3 ectopic pregnancies, 1 egg retrieval, 3 embryo transfers, 1 miscarriage, they adopted a baby girl from foster care in Canada. We are so excited to have you on and just for you to share your whole journey, because that alone is extremely long and hefty. So I can't even imagine to hear all the ins and outs of it for sure. So welcome on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Well,
you
we
for
are
being
so
with us.
excited.
We are. We followed you for a long time on your Instagram, and so we know that you have like a
And it's
crazy.
beautiful.
It's
Like,
so
can we first
beautiful.
just say that your Instagram is so pretty? You're like the little nursery and everything. I was just looking
Oh,
at it.
thank
It's
you.
stunning.
It's so beautiful, and you have such a way about storytelling just via, Instagram. So we're excited to hear your story, on here. And we always find that these types of episodes with real women telling their real, just transparent story do so well because that's what, women in this community are looking for is that connection. And she went through that. And I think for me, what stands out with you is 3 ectopic pregnancies. I mean,
I
that
know.
is wild. So
It's pretty rare. I know to go to 3 ectopic pregnancies. I know like the first time that I got diagnosed with one, I didn't even know what an ectopic pregnancy was. And then the second time was like, okay, really bad luck. But then by the third, my doctors were like, this is pretty unheard of. And at that point, they were like, if you've gone to a third, we don't know if you wouldn't like continue to have them. So at that point, I got my last tube removed. So yeah, I don't know if you guys want me to start from the beginning or.
Yes,
let's
please.
start like beginning of meeting your partner and well
Yeah.
before infertility. Yeah.
Okay, so we met in university, and really quickly in our relationship, like I graduated university, I had really intense baby fever, which for my friend group was like kind of different because we're not religious. We don't like there was really no rush. We had just graduated and we were starting our lives together, but I felt right away like I want a baby with this man specifically.
Oh.
And yeah, and he was also, I feel like for men, it's like different to want babies like young. I think we were maybe like 23, so not that young, but like in our friend circle, definitely no one was there yet. And so we started trying, and it was kind of like I felt embarrassed at first almost that we were like, because I think we were together for a year and then we started trying, and it was definitely like I had the prenatals vitamin that I was like hiding from my parents, almost like I was a teenager, but
Oh my
like
God.
I just felt like people might have had judgments. Anyway, so then we tried for 9 months, and definitely after 9 months, you're like not technically like have an infertility diagnosis or anything, but I could tell, I think in hindsight, that like something was wrong, or anyway, I felt like it. And after like right on the 9 month mark, we got pregnant. So we were, oh my God, okay, like this is
Everything's
it.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then right away like told everyone, like had no sense of even like, this could, it's very early, could be a loss. And then one night I woke up with like some spotting, which was my only symptom for all my ectopic, like yeah, spotting. So turns out that one was ectopic, and we were lucky that we got to treat it with methotrexate, so we didn't have to do the surgery.
So talk
um
talk listeners through that. So when you start spotting, did you say, okay, like let me go? And I know you're in Canada, so some of the terminology that I use may be different, but like, okay, I'm gonna go into the doctor to see if everything's okay. And then did you have the ultrasound and there was just like nothing there visibly?
yeah, so emergency room at that point, because oh yeah, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was spotting, and like I'm sure now that I know what I know, I could have maybe waited till the next day, because spotting can be normal in like early pregnancy, but for me, I saw that and I was like, we're miscarrying. So
Yeah.
went to the emergency right away. We're very, very lucky in Canada, so to have free healthcare. So, and then they weren't overly concerned, but I think they scheduled an ultrasound for the next day and they couldn't find anything in my uterus. So when they can't find anything in the uterus, they definitely start taking you more seriously because, as we know, like ectopic pregnancies are life-threatening. So
Yeah, life threatening.
Mhm.
Yes.
I remember they had let us leave and we had gone for breakfast. And over the course of breakfast, which was only an hour, I started having really bad cramps and on like one side. And then they called me while we were in the restaurant and they were like, come back right away. Like it's confirmed that it's in the left tube.
Oh, wow.
So then it becomes kind of an emergency. We went back. But we're lucky that first time they just gave me that injection and then they monitored my HCG. It went down and that was like the end of that first ectopic, which I would say was like the most traumatic because it's the first and it like steals your
Mhm.
innocence. Like you're so
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I'm pregnant, I'm gonna have a child. And the ones after were also sad and traumatic, but at least I didn't have like that, like, this is it
Right.
mentality.
Yes, totally. With Amanda and I having reoccurrent loss too, we're like, yeah, I mean, now it can happen to me and it can be me. So totally
Yeah,
understand.
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, it's a tough realization. And so then we tried after we got the go ahead because methotrexate, I think you need to wait like a certain period after, which was very defeating. And then we tried another exactly 9 months, got pregnant again, and then it was another ectopic pregnancy. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah, so
I
I
think
guess
that,
we go. Sorry.
no, I was just gonna say having to wait a year almost, like the 9 months in between, how much more heightened and like devastating that second time is.
Yeah, it was like what was frustrating too is like then the doctors because you need to try for a year anyway where I am to be have a diagnosis and because we got pregnant both times right before they wouldn't like want to help us because they were like, well, you can get pregnant, you just got bad, like not lucky.
Wow.
And for me that was very frustrating. I was like almost like penalized because I got pregnant
Yeah.
3 months before the year.
And in
Um,
Canada, you have to have a referral, right? For like an infertility
yes,
specialist. Okay,
yes.
so that's the difference. In the US, you don't.
Oh, you don't? So you can even before the year, like go to get
I
Oh
treatment?
yeah,
can,
I would have for sure lied.
yeah,
I'd be like, it's been a year and a half.
you can
Oh
schedule
my God.
yourself. Yeah, you can schedule
Oh,
completely yourself. And it's not, we've talked about it in one of our episodes because people don't, they think they need a referral from their OB, but you can actually just call and make an appointment.
okay. Wow,
Very
yeah,
different.
no, that would be different. Um, So, and I don't know, I think from what I assume, there's like way more clinics there. So maybe that's like, there's not as big waiting lines. Like for us, you need a referral because even with a referral, you can wait like a year.
My
Oh
goodness.
wow.
Yeah. So,
So when you
so
had the second diagnosis, right? So they're
yes.
like, okay, this is ectopic again. I'm sure, I mean, I can't, I really just can't imagine that.
Yeah, and opposite tube. So that's a big worry too, that it's not just like one of my
The
two might
same.
be have a defect. It's like both tubes now. Um, and that one I got the methotrexate shot, but my HCG kept rising. So they were concerned that it would rupture, and then I was hospitalized. And one thing too I want to point out because I was surprised, and I don't hear that often with ectopic, is that my HCG was very high. Like just from the HCG, you wouldn't be able to tell like that anything was wrong. And I had trouble even getting like the help that I needed because they would just take my HCG. They would say, no, it's great, it's high. But I guess just pointing out that sometimes for all three of my ectopic pregnancy, my HCG was fine. So
I'm glad you pointed that out because they do say, like, let's do HCG, and if it stalls or plateaus, that's
yeah,
really a sign of ectopic. So,
yeah,
I mean, not to like add fear for anybody, but it's also a really important sign because it is a life-threatening diagnosis to really push
yeah.
for that ultrasound.
Yeah. Really, the ultrasound's the only thing that can confirm it. But for me, like, yeah, the spotting was because, and again, I don't want to scare anybody either, but I didn't have like pain necessarily for all three. It was just the consistent spotting, like over days. That was my main symptoms. And then, just trusting your gut feeling because, as women, I do believe in women intuition. So for sure. So I got that first surgery for my second ectopic. And when the surgeon looked at my tube, he said that it was so damaged that there was like no really point of keeping it. So he removed it.
Oh
Um,
gosh, that's a story in itself to wake up and realize like they removed a fallopian tube.
I know. It's like it is a grief in itself. Like you're grieving the baby and then you're grieving like losing a part of your body. Um, and they were trying to reassure me saying, like, I'm sure you know that the egg, like if you still have both your ovaries, you like even
You
if
don't need
you
your tubes, which is so
yeah.
crazy.
That's like mind blowing to me.
I
I
know,
still don't know how
right?
to properly explain it, but like if you ovulate on the opposite side and you don't have the tube, the other tube can still like
Yeah.
get the egg. So really, really encouraging when you only have one tube but two ovaries.
Yes.
So what happened after that? After
Well,
that,
do they tell you like because I think and you'll have to educate me, but like I guess endometriosis could cause that or it just can be there? Did they give you a reason? They're just like it just is
no.
damaged.
Yeah, I feel like there's such a like for me it was frustrating. Like, what do you mean we can't tell what's happening? But like my understanding is like it's the little follicle inside the tubes that if they're damaged or if there's anything like then the eggs just like stalls.
Yeah.
But it's like for me it was like, what do you mean we can't like there's no way of
Fixing it.
going in and like
Yeah,
seeing?
just
It's such
surgically fix it.
Because isn't it
yeah, it's
aren't
so small,
fallopian
I guess
tubes
that
like
there's not.
so tiny? Like they're smaller than like a straw, like I think, right?
Yeah. I would imagine. And then we did the one test, I guess was I forget what it's called. The
HSG,
ink. Yeah. What is that called?
where they do like they put the fluid in or the dye
Yes.
in to see if the
The
tubes are
dye.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ink, not the ink, the dye. But they did that and they couldn't see anything. They were like, "Yep, it's open." So it was in my case like something that we couldn't see that was like inside that was um just stalling the egg. And it was interesting because one of my ectopic was like right next to my ovaries, so the egg didn't make it like
Even.
would have fertilized and just like really don't not make it far. And
Yeah.
then other ones were like on the opening, like where the uterus is. So
Wow.
or anyway, closer to the
It's
uterus. So
so frustrating to know that like
Mm-hmm.
like this
was
It
isn't
was
almost
so
there.
close. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I
just a little
know.
bit more. I know. Oh my goodness. Okay, so then
I'm
Yeah.
you
so
get the
sorry for both of those
surgery
losses. Yeah, I'm so sorry for both of those losses. I mean,
for
Thank you.
sure.
that's so devastating.
Yeah, thank you. And then yeah, I was trying to think what happened after that surgery. So I think we got married and then we started our egg retrieval. Um, we had I think the best experience you could have for an egg retrieval. Like I didn't have any major symptoms. We got a lot of eggs and a lot of embryos and then we were what was it? So then we started our IVF era where um we didn't do a fresh, so we did frozen. The first two, nothing happened. Like they just didn't take. And my doctor was not concerned. He was like, it happens. It's so like it's reassuring that it's like okay it happens, but it's also frustrating when they don't have like an exact reason to give
Answer.
you. Like for me,
Mm-hmm.
I was young, my embryos were great quality, there was really like they checked for like you said endometriosis, like I don't have PCOS, I don't have anything that could like pinpoint why they're not sticking. The first one too was medicated and then we moved on to natural. A few after these two transfers failed, I actually got pregnant a third time naturally. And it was just like, again, confusing. It's almost like the fertilization were not our problem, but the embryos would only stick in my tube because, spoiler, that was a third ectopic pregnancy that we got naturally.
My
Um,
goodness.
Wow.
and that was like where I kind of threw the towel a little bit on like, what do you mean? Like how, like at this
How
point,
did
it's
this
not
happen
just
again?
we're not just bad, like we're not just not lucky, like there's something
Something
not
going
working
on.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And educate me on this. I think I know the answer, but with IVF, if they implant the embryo in the uterus, can that still be ectopic? Is there still a risk
Yeah.
for that?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why if you are like committed to IVF and you have embryos, sometimes they'll even recommend that you remove your tube because it's not worth the risk of like paying and going through all that. And then, yeah, I'm not sure the science behind it, but like the embryo can uh,
Move.
travel to the tube.
That's crazy. I did
So
not realize that.
yeah, so there's really no way of like escaping ectopic pregnancies other than removing your tube, like if you're really prone
Yeah.
to them, which is what happened to us. Like at our third ectopic, it was an emergency surgery, so they were like prepping me really quickly. And I'm the one that asked my doctor, do you recommend we take it out or are you going to try to save it? And he was like, well, that's totally up to you. And at that point, we had our embryos on ice. So I said,
Like,
you
take it
know
out.
what? Take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he
Yeah.
did. And it was sad, like, again, a grief of like, okay, now I'm like sterile. Like, that's another level than being infertile. Like, I'm
Yeah.
23 and I don't have any more tubes. But
Mm-hmm.
it turned out to be such a blessing in disguise because it changed my life. Like the fact of not having to like worry every month and not having the like hope and then negative and then hope and then negative.
Yeah.
It was the right decision for us for sure.
I
I
love
bet
that
that
you.
could be so freeing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the decision that like had the biggest impact on my fertility journey because even when I think of adoption, like it would have been hard if there's a hope, like if there's a tube, like you just never know.
There's
So
still
you
like a
always like,
chance.
yeah, you always like have to have that in the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But once I removed my tube, my last tube, it was like the best of both world of like, okay, we still have our embryos and we don't have to worry every single month and like squint at pregnancy tests and
Yeah. Yeah. For
yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
No, I
for
totally get
sure.
that. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so you've had three ectopic pregnancies, you removed your tubes, but you still have, did you say two embryos on ice or you didn't, maybe didn't say a number?
I had a lot at that point. Yeah, but at that point I had two embryo transfers. So there's still one more that we did after I had no more tubes, and a second natural embryo transfer. And that one worked, which was surprising and very promising because it was my first ever pregnancy in my uterus. At this point, we're like 6 years in, and I finally have an embryo implanted inside my uterus.
Wow.
And I think that one was hard because my husband, not as much me because I was on my guard, but my husband was like, we're having a baby. And like, I had never seen him let his guard down so bad. Like, he was talking about baby names, and I was like, oh my God, whoa. Like, I don't know if I had an intuition that it wasn't going to work or if I was just scared, but it did not work. Like after I think at our 8 week scan, there was just no growth and no heartbeat. So
Mhm.
we lost that baby. And I know like they were all babies, but the fact that this one was in the uterus, I don't know,
Yeah.
there's just something about it where you're
Oh,
like,
different.
you feel almost more guilty because you're like, you had everything you needed to grow and like my body failed you in a way. So
Mm.
definitely tough. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That
Goodness.
is, and I think again, like for me, listening to your story, because Amanda and I have been through reoccurrent loss, but mine were so back to back. And I think like listening
Okay.
to your story, yours has been so drawn out of like just living in that like just like terror and the hope and the ups and downs and is it
Yeah.
possible and everything that you've shared in between the lines, like how much more difficult this whole experience has had to have been for you.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the grass is always greener, but I feel like for like when I hear people having back to backs, I'm like, oh no, that sounds way harder. Like at least I had like time in between to like recover, but losses, even if they're, any loss is like
Yeah.
difficult. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Loss of an embryo, loss of ectopic,
Yeah,
loss, miscarriage, all of that.
absolutely.
And so,
Yes.
obviously, adoption is a part of Amanda's story. And it was, I don't know how much you know about embryo adoption for Amanda and for me. I started the adoption process too several years ago. So
Okay.
we've dabbled in it, but we are very interested to hear your full circle story with your daughter.
Yes, so that's where the happy part of my story begins. So, after we lost our fourth baby, yeah. um, we I shared this story on my Instagram once where I was in like the hospital that time, and there was a lady like a older, like I'm guessing she was in her 80s or 90s, like next to me, and I had this moment where I was like, what would she think of me? Because it was like a beautiful sunny day outside, and I was like, she's probably wondering why I'm here. Like, I look healthy, I'm young, like, why am I here? And then that transpired to what would I think of myself if I was 80 and I would see myself like here on a beautiful sunny day? And I was like, would I think, wow, she's so brave for like following her dream? Or would I be like, Allie, like you're wasting the most like beautiful years of your life, like fighting against your body for something that like clearly doesn't want to happen. And I didn't have an answer that day, but I kind of sat with it, and the desire to be pregnant like never came back again. It was almost like my answer was like, I wouldn't want to look back and feel like I fought so hard for against my body. And
I can res
so
Yeah, I resonate so hard with that.
yes.
Like after I had 6 miscarriages and I was like,
um,
I just want to be a mom. I want to be a mom. I don't want to be pregnant. I want to be a
yeah.
mom. I want to be 50
Yeah.
years old sitting around a Christmas tree with a family. Like who's going to remember the 9 months if I was pregnant or not? Like that just
Mhm.
wasn't important to me when I sat back and reflected on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like for some people it is, and like that is so valid, but I think, yeah, for me it was at some point, so I can relate to people that feel like that's important. But after 6 years, and like you're just like, oh, you have a different perspective on what is like motherhood.
Yeah.
For
Um,
sure.
And like for
yeah.
Amanda, hers was important that she was pregnant, but her realization was it's not important that it's biological. Like,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
she
yeah,
did
there you
embryo
go.
adoption. And so
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
all had these different realizations when you get to certain, you're the one sitting in the hospital bed, you're the one reflecting over
Oh,
your
for
life
sure.
experience, and you just have to make that decision for yourself. So I love that you shared that.
Yeah. No, I love that we all have like different but like similar realization around that, where it's like, what is important? Like, yeah. And we started the adoption process. We never considered embryo donation because we just didn't have we had our embryos and our doctors were saying everything's fine. So that was
Yeah.
Yeah,
not like
we're in
some
the same boat of like my body wasn't, it was like I was fighting against my body. Why is this not working? Everything's set up. So embryo adoption for us would have been silly because it wasn't working, right?
yeah,
And so same for
yeah.
you. It's like it's
And
not
then for
working
me,
for us.
I had no embryos. Every
Okay.
embryo we created had like so many abnormalities. So I just needed like the embryo part.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's so interesting. I'm sure we could talk for hours about that difference between like having a non-biological child that you carried versus you not carried. Like I'm sure there's some
Yeah.
things you could relate on, but
Oh,
then
I'm
like
Maybe we
sure.
should at the end. I would love to
Yeah.
hear that being in the middle.
yeah, I'd
I
love to.
know.
Yeah. Um, and when we started the adoption process, I always say that for us, like, we started swimming with the current. Like, everything just was falling into places. Our social workers would be like, oh, we have a cancellation that day. We can come earlier. And it was like, so, like, okay, we're aligned. Like, now we're in the right path. Amazing social worker. She did our home study, our courses, like, over a year, which is pretty short from like beginning to end for the process here where we live in Canada. And we got approved on March 7, 2025, and on March 6th, 2025, and our daughter was born the next day. So
Oh
we
my
just
goodness.
made it in time to be approved right before she was born.
Wow,
Here
that's
the
so meant to be.
I know. Here the birth parents have 30 days to revoke their rights. So we didn't hear about her until exactly a month and a day after we were approved. So very, very quick, very unheard of for like newborns, or I guess she was 2 months when we adopted her. So almost newborn. And there was just so many signs and like so many invincible strings that it was so clear, like, okay, it was always meant to be her. I know that's kind of cliche, but for us it was definitely everything clicked into place when we heard her story, her name, like everything, the dates. Yeah. So we said, well, actually, when they called us with her, we had to wait like 23 days, which felt like the longest 23 days to read her file. And then when we read her file, we immediately said, like, yes, like that's our
Oh.
baby.
Oh,
And then
wow.
brought her home. Yeah, brought her home 7 days after we read the file. So that was
Oh my
hectic.
goodness. I like
Yeah.
can't even imagine the moment like you met her. Like
Oh,
I bet that's the most surreal, insane, overwhelming feeling ever. Like
oh, yeah. I don't know if you've seen the video, but it's like so funny because my husband's like tearing up and like so emotional, and I'm just like in shock. Like there's
yeah.
no expression in my face because I cannot process fast enough
You're
what
like,
is
how is this
happening.
real?
Yeah.
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 And my reaction is so silly. It's just like, no one, wait a minute. No one told me that she was perfect. Like, isn't that something that would have been
Oh,
in the file? Like, she is perfect. So when I met
literally
her, I was like,
perfect.
oh, she's so
You're
Oh
like,
my
cute.
if she's
goodness.
mine, are
Chills
you
from what you
sure?
just
Oh my
said. That is
gosh.
so sweet.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Oh my God, she's like the most beautiful baby ever. And I'm like, I feel like I could say that because I'm not biased. Like, I didn't make her, and she is
Yeah. You're like, no, for
beautiful.
real. She's
It's
so
really
pretty.
funny you said that because I know you don't share her face on social media, but before you got on, I told Amanda, I said, her daughter is so beautiful. And Amanda's like, she covers her
I
face.
was like, you can't see her
I was
face.
like, I know, but it's just something about like even just like her little hands and her little hair.
Yes, her little
It's
hair.
so sweet.
So
Thank
sweet.
you.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
sweet. Thank you.
Congratulations. Oh my
Thank you.
goodness.
Appreciate
That,
that. Yeah.
that is
It's
so
been
amazing.
it's been a blur. Like, it's been a year, a couple, like last week or the week before, and it's just been a blur. Like, crazy,
Is
crazy
motherhood
times.
everything that you thought it was gonna be and hope for?
Yeah, yeah. It was. We had a even better experience than what I imagined motherhood to be. Like, I think I was like focusing so hard on like what would be hard that I didn't realize that like what would be amazing. So
Mhm.
yeah,
That's precious.
she's such an adaptable baby, like given her story and like the fact that she was in foster care for 2 months, and she just fits into our family perfect. Like, I always said I wanted to raise my babies like to be extroverted babies, and like she's already was that, like loves people, just happy, and yeah,
Oh,
I'm just so so grateful. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. What a beautiful, I don't even want to say ending to your story because it's not the end, but like what a
No.
beautiful like part of your story.
Yeah, yeah. And we did have adoption. Like, my husband's adopted, my mom is adopted, my
oh
stepmom is
wow.
adopted, and that's just to name a few. Like, there's a lot of adoptions in our story, and so it's it's hard to see in the moment, but like in hindsight, like
It makes sense. You're the
It
it kind of
does.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. It was woven in
Um,
there the whole time.
yes, exactly. So
That
I
is
feel
so
like,
cool.
yes, thank you.
Could you share a little bit? 'Cause it may be different, obviously. I mean, in Canada versus the United States, I don't really know like all the laws, and I know state to state is even different. But like the actual like finalizing the adoption side, is that did
Mm.
that take a long time, or how does that work?
Yeah, I think it's pretty similar to what is in the States in the sense that like you have home visits. So we brought her home 5 days after we had a home visit, and then one every month for 6 months. So here it's a year for or older children, and then 6 months for babies. And then what's different, I guess, and that's different everywhere I noticed, but like you see in the movies they go to court and there's like a judge
Yeah.
order, and then I've seen also other people do it on Zoom, but it's still like raise your hand, like
They do that in the States, yeah.
yeah. But I have another friend from the States that said like hers was more similar to mine, where we literally just got a letter in the mail. So not nearly as like
Yeah.
meaningful.
Official. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But it was still like we recorded ourselves opening the letter, and like the emotions are the same. It's like, oh my God, we
Yeah.
did it. It
Like
just
it's
wasn't like,
official. Yeah.
Did
yeah.
Yeah.
you
Knowing
feel, because
she
I was
is
gonna say, like,
mine.
that was
Yeah.
always something I was like anxious about was during that time of like, meeting your daughter, meeting your son to finalization. Did you ever feel like this could be taken away from me or like
Mm,
what? Like,
yeah.
gosh, that emotional, just like
Yeah.
time.
I think that's so valid. And I think actually a lot of people, when I hear people say like, oh my God, good for you, but like I could never adopt, I think they like think of that. Like they're like, I
Yes,
could
for
not have
sure.
a child that like,
That was
and
me.
that was you.
Yeah, because and so with embryo adoption, it was finalized before the baby was even inside of me. So like we did the whole, we had lawyers, we had the whole thing,
Yep.
but like I officially, I mean, I know this sounds bad, but like how they word it is like ownership, like custody of the embryos.
Custody,
So
yeah.
like at that point, no one could take them away. So they were
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
And so there was never that feeling of like someone's could like it could all change.
It
And I
could
think
be
that's what
taken away.
scared me so much about traditional adoption was like I could like fall in love with this baby and then like a week later someone could take the baby back. And
Yeah.
I don't know how I would mentally like
No.
recover.
No, right? Like, so here I had told my social workers, like, here, well, I don't want to speak for all of Canada, but for us, like, pre-birth matching was not even an option. Like, I had told my social worker, like, I do not want to be contacted for anyone that is not already like in the guardianship of the province or like the state
Yeah.
in your case,
Oh
because
yeah.
I just knew myself, and like I can't do that. Like I see them on like social media like taking the babies to the hotel room and they have to stay close in case like the birth parents
Yes.
change their mind. I'm just like,
Yeah.
that is terrifying.
Yeah. And I think that's
um
what most people picture when they think of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you want a newborn, and then I understand pre-birth matching for like, you get to go to the ultrasounds and you get to like know your baby, but that was just not worth it in my opinion for
Yeah.
like the risk. And I also really like that like our birth mom and birth dad got the whole 30 days without us even existing yet to like make their decision.
There was
So that
no
was just,
pressure. It was like a genuine decision.
yes, and that just makes me sleep better at night to know that like it was truly their decision, and if it wouldn't have been us adopting her, it would have been someone else. So I don't feel like we coerced, obviously. So, oh, you were asking if I had those feelings, even with like the fact that she was on the guardianship of the province and there was no coming back from the birth family. I still had those intrusive thoughts, like just of like because you're so in love that you, and I feel like that's just like a newborn mom
I was gonna
intrusive
say
thought.
that's just
Yeah.
motherhood,
No,
right?
for
Like
sure.
that's just motherhood. I have the
Um,
intrusive thoughts that like illness is gonna take my children or a
right,
freak accident. And so I think
right.
that's just like part of motherhood.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I was texting my friend that's like a bio mom, like like a mom through traditional pregnancy, and I was like, wait, like, do you have those fears of like if your child would like get hurt by accident, like you take them to the emergency room, that they're like, gonna like take them away? And she's like, actually, yes. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
that's not necessarily like a fear out of like
Unique.
adoptive mom. And
Adoption.
thankfully,
Yeah.
Vienna, we never had to take her to the emergency room. Like, she's never been sick so far. But like, I was
Yeah.
just like a fear of like, oh my God, like if she gets a bruise, like, are we like
Yeah,
more like, are they like having more eyes on us because we're adoptive parents, which is so
sure.
unfair because like children get hurt
Yes,
regardless.
of
So
course.
My
Yeah.
3-year-old has bruises head to toe. I'm like, you
Oh,
cannot get
literally
any
same.
more hurt this next couple weeks because we're
you're
gonna get
cut off.
taken
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, yeah. It's so true. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So how
Well,
old
I
are
would love
your
for you. I
children?
would love to talk a little bit. I know you mentioned it, but just like from like not having biological children, like just a little bit about like I know there's been like sometimes. I mean, I for the most part like genuinely don't even think about it. Like he's my
Mm-hmm.
child, and so like the genetics of it never really comes up. The only times I like am like, oh, is when people like around me, and I'm curious if you've ever experienced this. They'll be like, oh my gosh, my daughter looks just like me, or my son like looks whatever, and I'm like, I like joke, and I'm like, oh yeah. I have a boy, and I'm like, yeah, Ben looks just like me too, and I mean, he doesn't. My child's a different race, but like, I'm just curious if you've like experienced that because
Yeah, that is actually so valid. Like one thing I feel like because I feel like people take it for granted that their children looks like them, but
yeah,
I like how do I say that? When I go to daycare, drop off or pick up, like I notice all the babies that look like their parents. But
uh-huh,
one thing is like I don't think they notice that my daughter
yeah,
doesn't look like me, like because
yeah,
they're not thinking in that sense.
100%. Yeah, you're totally.
Um, and we're like she's white, I'm white. Like I don't think they're thinking it
Oh
beyond
yeah,
that.
no, for
So
sure.
one thing that comes up for me, the only like biological like especially at the beginning, is like I was a little bit envious of my friends of the bond they had. And not because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bond with Vienna. It was the whole like Velcro baby thing. Like I think when your baby grows in your belly,
Mm-hmm.
it comes out and it like always wants to be attached to you, right? And like
Yeah,
Vienna wasn't like that at all, like to the point where I would question like, oh my god, am I doing something wrong? Because like I could put her in her crib and she would sleep. Like she would prefer to sleep in her crib than sleep on me. And
yeah,
that I think like still to this day, like I'm like a little bit like, oh, like I wish I had that like
mm-hmm.
physical like I don't know. We were getting to know each other and we were getting to like, I always say, like, when I feel like for pregnant people, they learn to exist like outside with like outside of their children. But for us,
Mm-hmm.
we were like learning to like sync our bodies together. So there was time when I was like holding her in the carrier, but because I've never been pregnant and I've never had like someone attached to me, it would feel like almost like uncomfortable to be like that like close.
Well, Allie,
Yeah.
I feel like hopefully I can make you feel better because like I have 2 girls and my second is the same way. Like we try to co-sleep, prefers to be in the crib, try to put her in the
Okay.
carrier. She's like, get me out of this thing. And
Yeah.
so
That's so
like
funny.
I totally resonate because I also see moms say like Velcro baby, Velcro mom. And I'm like, I want to be a Velcro mom, but like
I
my baby
know.
doesn't.
Interesting. So only one of your three is like that. So it's like a
Yeah, so I have
personality
yeah, so I
thing.
have the 2 girls, and I would say like my first was probably like that, but yeah, my second is just like a little bit more independent. And I think like hearing your story, obviously those first were 8 weeks when she was in the foster care system, like she learned that independence probably more
Yeah.
so than like a traditional, birth
Yes.
and being.
I think
So I'm
so.
sure that like that totally makes sense. But mine, yeah, mine would thrives in her crib. My first never slept in her crib. So I think some of that too is just baby temperament for
Yeah.
sure. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Ben was Velcro-y, right?
Oh, he still is. Yeah. He still sleeps in my bed and he's 4.5. So,
Oh
yeah.
my god. And
Yeah.
the more Vienna grows, like the more she wants to cuddle, which is like, ah, that makes
So
me
fun.
happy. Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah. The
Mhm.
older she gets, for sure, you'll like get to like cozy and watch a movie together. It's
Yes.
yes, it's so special.
I have a
Yes.
question, maybe a closing question too. And I don't know if either of you are even comfortable or ready to share this yet, but kind of like what does it look like in sharing their story with them as they grow? I think that's always something that's really interesting. And obviously that'll be different for both of you. But have you
Mhm.
thought about that? Kind of sharing her story with her?
Yes. Well, obviously, so far it's been like we say it, but like, because they do say babies like can understand subconsciously some things. So we've already started like reading her books about adoptions and like
Yeah.
sometimes I'll like tell her stuff, but like I had obviously I know there's no like really conscious understanding yet. So my plan is just hopefully to like keep doing that, so to the point where like eventually one day we look back and we're like, oh my god, she knows she's adopted, she knows her story, but like we've never had to like sit down one day and like tell her. It's just been
Yeah,
always
it won't be a
part of,
surprise.
That's just
yeah,
normalized. Like
Yeah.
this is it.
Yeah.
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 And I'd say mine is pretty similar. We read books, we talk about it all the time. Ours is a little bit different because we have like an open adoption. So
Okay,
our
I
egg
love
donor
that.
is actually coming this weekend and staying with us. So my son's biological sister is coming. They're
Oh
two
my god,
years
I love
apart.
that.
So they're going to have a play date all week. So he sees them every year. And so he like obviously understands, I think, a little bit more. He's older too. So we've had to be honest, from the
Yeah,
start. And he's
yeah.
also a different race. I think that also, not that I would have hit
Okay,
it if he wasn't, but it's like, I think the older he gets, the more obvious he's going to be like, I don't necessarily look like mommy and daddy.
right.
So yeah, I think it's just, to be honest, I feel like is always going to be the best thing for the kid.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
That's so, I love that you have an open adoption. That's awesome.
Yes, yeah. It's definitely has some pros and some cons, but I know
Okay.
ultimately it's the best for the children.
Right.
And so we really want that for them to be able to have a relationship with their like biological siblings.
Yeah.
So
And did you get to pick the donor and the embryo? Like from a
we
profile
actually
book
just
or?
like matched on Facebook. Our story is like
Oh.
so unique. I know that doesn't normally happen. So we just matched with a family through Facebook, and then we just like went through the process with the fertility clinic after that. But yeah.
Okay, okay. How
Yeah.
cool.
I know.
I've had a few people reach out because I was talking about like our remaining embryos and like not thinking of going back to them, and like
Yeah.
not in any weird way, like no one was like give us your embryo, but like just people who
Yeah.
were like, hey, would you consider donating your embryo one day? And I just find that that's like absolutely, but then also when you really think about it, like that is
For sure.
crazy.
Yeah.
To
No.
have your
I am so thankful that she obviously did, because this is how I like have my family. But I also understand like being on the other side, like how hard that could be. So yeah, I don't know. It's
yeah,
for sure
but
pros.
like
Like
you say
I'm forever
Facebook,
grateful.
and I'm like, wow, like you never know.
Yeah, no, genuinely. And it was like just like you said earlier, of like how like the adoption, just like that everything was just like going right. Like it was just work. That's how it was with us. Like
Okay.
it just, we matched so fast, and we got the lawyer so quick, and then the doctors, like everything was just, we're like, this is where we're supposed to be. It just made sense.
And I think like just listening to this is so neat because I tried both of your routes, right? So I tried to do domestic infant adoption after our sixth loss, and we never matched. During that time, I became pregnant with my now 3-year-old, which was incredible and exciting. But we stayed in a family for a whole year and we never matched. And so it's like, okay, like it's not that adoption is easy. It just was your path and it worked out great for you. And like it wasn't meant to be for me, at least at that time. And same with Amanda's story. I also started dabbling in embryo adoption, thinking like, okay, like maybe this is it. And so I joined the same Facebook group as her. There was hundreds of thousands of women in that group, like 20,000 comments on every single post. And I'm like, how did you get picked in 5 minutes? Nobody's even answered me. So I just think it's so beautiful to hear both of yours were so unique, but so seamless, and just like so like that was, like you said, invisible string. Like that was y'all's, that was your future. Those were your babies from the beginning. And it wasn't like you were fighting it. It wasn't hard. It was like I was fighting it. It was hard. And I just had to wait longer, right, for my babies to get to me. And so I just think that's so beautiful. Allie, you do a phenomenal job sharing on your Instagram, and I don't think we've shared it just yet. So if people want to find you, chat with you, I know you respond via DM. Clearly, you shared. What is your Instagram handle?
I try to answer every DM. It's like a full-time job, but I love connecting. So my Instagram is one cycle at a time, but like with the how do you even call that? Underscore.
Yeah.
Cycle underscore at underscore. You get the concept. Yeah. So one cycle at a time.
And we will link that in the show notes. And of course, we will have all of this on our social media to link her if you want to find her. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Is there anything else you'd want to say to listeners before we close?
No, just thank you for having me. And this was my first podcast experience, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you.
Thanks for being so
Thank
vulnerable and
you.
transparent. I know it's going to help a listener out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.